Joining me now is Chief Political Writer of Spiked Online and Sky News Australia contributor, Brendan O'Neill. Brendan, great to see you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Rowan. How are you?
Yeah, well, very good. But wow, it's all certainly happening over in your neck of the woods at the moment, Brendan. We had on the show last night Nigel Farage, just as the video had broken of the giggling group at their press conference. We'll just quickly play that to remind ourselves. This was them talking about an alleged Christmas party that had occurred last year when the entire UK was under lockdown. It is alleged that in Downing Street they were having this party, and when they were quizzed about it later, they just laughed. Have a look at the footage.
I've seen reports on Twitter that there was a Downing Street Christmas party on Friday night. Do you recognise those reports?
I went home. Hold on.
Would the Prime Minister condone having a Christmas party?
What's the answer?
I don't know.
Wasn't a party, it was cheese and wine.
Just be clear, it's not.
Is cheese and wine all right?
No.
It was a business meeting.
I'm joking.
Is this recorded? It's a fictional party. It was a business meeting. And it was not socially distanced.
So, Brendan, what happened next?
Well, what happened next is that woman you saw there, Allegra Stratton, has now resigned, and the nation is pretty furious about this because this, as you say, this was last December. This was a time when London was being put into Tier 3, and that was a tier of lockdown which meant that household mixing was banned. You were not allowed to mix with people from other households in an indoor setting. And it seems like Downing Street broke those rules. It still remains to be seen if that's definitely the case, but that's what they're joking about there. And she says it wasn't socially distanced. So there's a lot of anger in the country. We feel like they are literally laughing at us. And we followed the rules. Well, most people followed the rules. And the people who made the rules seem to have broken them. So people are angry about the hypocrisy of Downing Street right now.
And it's worse than just hypocrisy because Boris Johnson, he made an apology, which we'll play now. But that apology, if you listen carefully, it's full of weasel words and he's not really apologising. Just have a listen.
I understand and share the anger up and down the country at seeing Number 10 staff seeming to make light of lockdown measures. I was also furious to see that clip. I apologise unreservedly for the offence that it has caused up and down the country. I have been repeatedly assured since these allegations emerged that there was no party and that no COVID rules were broken, and that is what I have been repeatedly assured.
So, Brendan, do you buy it, and do the British people buy that?
They don't buy it. And a lot of people are asking, how is it possible for Boris Johnson not to know what was going on inside his own house? I mean, imagine, Rowan, if someone had a party in your house, I think you'd know about it. Now,
happens all the time, Brendan. You know what it's like. Happens all the time. What can you do? They're called teenagers.
Absolutely. You know, Downing Street is a big place, but I think the person who lives there with his wife and his young child would know if something was happening. So it's preposterous and people don't believe it. And people are angry, and they're angry particularly, I mean, Allegra Stratton, the woman who's resigned, the woman who was laughing, she's getting all the flack at the moment, but I actually think the blame lies with Boris and his advisors. Did they really believe in these authoritarian measures that they were passing, or didn't they? And if they didn't, which it looks like they didn't, why did they force the rest of us to follow them? That's the question people are now asking. Why were we forced under threat of criminalisation and fines of following these rules, whereas the people in power seemed to have broken them? So there's a lot of anger right now, and especially now that Boris has brought in new restrictions, people are asking what moral authority does he have to do that, given this controversy?